So, Ty Templeton's been watching our videos, huh? 1 down, 2 to go. Welcome back, everybody, to our series of Easter eggy reviews of the brand new Batman The Adventures Continue comic. We're now going to be putting these videos out every Wednesday that follows an issue release, because DC decided to push the releases to Thursdays, and I can't make these videos in just 3 days, goddammit. Today we're going to be covering the newest issue, Chapter 4, Mentors, Part 2. If you haven't already, go read it on Comixology or readdc.com, and then make sure you've caught up on our other BTAC issue breakdowns at the link in the little text box thingy that just appeared above my head. Or don't do any of that. But you'd be a silly poo-poo pants if you didn't. Before we dive in, I want to do a quick little lightning round of corrections from last video. Yes, believe it or not, we do get stuff wrong from time to time. Later Comic Book Titans teams showcased Miss Martian, who almost definitely doesn't exist. Hal Jordan seemingly never became a Green Lantern in the main DCAU timeline.
Jason Todd doesn't exist in the DCAU.
It just doesn't seem like it was likely to happen at all.
In the kitchen of Wayne Manor, we tried to guess what this painting was, presuming Amelia Earhart or Andrea Beaumont. But thanks to Brandon T, we now know it's actually Self-Portrait in the Green Bugatti, also known as Auto-Portrait, Tamara in a Green Bugatti, a 1929 painting by Polish artist Tamara de Lempicka. Just one of those rich people have paintings things, I guess. Jason Jackson James, nice name by the way, at least that last third of it, pointed out that we actually did get a damn in the original Batman Adventures issue number 32, 25 years before this one from Jason. And lastly, Kevin, I will actually keep calling Clayface spicy, because no, he is not ice cream, he is in fact refried beans. Okay, onto the new issue. Here on the cover page, we've got probably my favorite title card so far, with Slade giving off some pretty hobgoblin vibes. On the first actual page of the comic, page 3 on Comixology, we've got Robin cruising down the streets of good old red-skied Gotham in a patented Batman the Animated Series bat cycle, just like the one we saw Batgirl riding last issue. According to issue 2 of the Wild Cartoon Kingdom magazine from late 1993, this thing can go up to 190 miles per hour. Take that, Air Luthor. Wait, the Batwing has a cloaking device? Has Robin had a helmet like this before? I do not think so. We've seen Dick Grayson sport a similar helmet in BTAS, like when he goes after Tony Zuko in the end of Robin's Reckoning, but an even closer match in the Batman Adventures number 4, complete with the little R logo. Maybe Dick left this in the Batcave when he quit being Robin, and Tim was like, well, this won't do. This paint job doesn't match the new animation style at all. And worth mentioning, it's also pretty similar to the motorcycle helmet that Teen Titans Robin had. Can Tim Drake legally drive, though? He's 13 in the new Batman Adventures. This would have to be at least 3 years after the fact for him to be 16, the legal driving age in the state of New York, you know, where DCAU Gotham is.
Pardon me for saying so, but you are a kid.
Or maybe Tim wasn't allowed to be shown driving on the cartoon because of some sort of broadcast standards and practices rule. Oh wait, he did drive a vehicle! The Red Wing Skyfighter! It is a school night, we see, so this issue takes place on some day of the week that isn't Friday or Saturday.
Because it's Thursday.
Tim also mentions the Wonderland Gang, who we see in full a few pages later in this issue. This group was created by Paul Dini in 2008 for Detective Comics number 841, a crew of Alice in Wonderland themed crooks led by the Mad Hatter, Tweedledee, and Tweedledum. The latter two actually first appeared in issue number 74 of that title, cover dated April 1943, created by writer Don Cameron and Batman co-creator Bob Kane. Well, technically at the time they were cousins, and then one of them died, and nowadays it's two brothers. And based on their design in The Adventures Continue, I'ma say they's the brothers. Other members of this team include March Hare, or March Harriet, depending on the continuity, the Walrus, and the Carpenter.
Of shoes and ships and sealing wax and cabbages and canes.
All of which were featured a couple years back in Paul Dini's Harley Loves Joker backup story in the main Harley Quinn title, which eventually got a 2-issue wrap-up miniseries of its own. They look mildly different between those two comics, but I'm just gonna chalk that up to Ty Templeton character designs versus Brett Blevins ones, more cartoonish renderings rather than the costumes they wore in Harley Loves Joker that more closely match their original Detective Comics looks, even if Walrus's colors do better match the originals in this than they did in HLJ. Look, they appeared in both things, that's all I'm trying to say. I'm gonna be annoying for a sec to pause and mention, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. We've got a goal of hitting 100,000 before the end of the year, and we've grown about 10,000 in the last 5 months, which is kind of crazy considering we've been doing this YouTube thing for like 3 or 4 years now. And that's around 20% of our audience that just found us and should go watch all our older videos. We put out videos on the DC Animated Universe every single week, including hardcore analyses of this new comic every time a new issue comes out. So you won't want to miss any of that. As it stands right now, nearly 65% of people that watch our videos are not subscribed. And those of you who are subscribed, only about 20% have notifications on.
Stop it. Get some help.
That explains why we don't have like 54,000 views every video bare minimum. Come on. You can do it. Click the buttons. Every time you subscribe, a LexCorp airplane gets its wings. Moving on from the first page, finally. We see Slade is headed for the Entomology Pavilion. Entomology being the scientific study of insects. As far as we were able to find, this looks to be the first appearance of this location in anything. As Slade enters the museum on page 5, we get a look at wall art of various insects, something which Ty Templeton teased on his Instagram about 2.5 months ago, for which Maddie gets a no prize for correctly assuming would be for this comic. This does mean Ty is at least that far ahead on the art. And we get another Critters reference with this giant praying mantis, even though it turns out to be a fake out and Robin is actually doing the talking and the mantis is just a statue. Or could it be a taxidermied mantis from Critters? Like its head fell into Batman's hands and he was like, I should donate this to the Bug Museum. Wouldn't he just put it in the Batcave trophy area? He's got weirder stuff there, like the hood of Mad Monk? This has been canon this whole time? Hidden in a comic that was only released in the United Kingdom? Sorry, we'll cover that in a different video. We also get other wall art throughout the museum scenes in this issue, including Apoidea, the family designation for wasps and bees, Lepidoptera, or moths and butterflies, what I assume says arachnid above this scorpion, and this little Pokemon bug catcher guy. Deathstroke giving Robin tactical pointers is an interesting addition to the lore of Tim Drake in this universe, adding layers to what little we got of him in the on-screen DCAU, and making it all the more depressing knowing he'll still fall for Harley and Joker's trap a few years down the road. On page 7, we get a pretty shway flashback to the TNBA episode Torch Song, Firefly's debut, complete with fireproof batsuit, which of course now just makes me want to buy that figure even more. Thanks, marketing people. This isn't 100% how this moment went down in the cartoon though. Here we have Cassidy tied up to a big vertical pole, whereas in the episode she was hanging more upright from a 90-degree metal pipe. Alternate universe confirmed? Honestly, I'm just surprised they didn't retcon the fireproof suit's head to look like the Dark Knight Returns armor, now that that thing chronologically comes before the armor we saw in Batman Beyond. Don't question it, just accept it! We've got more Firefly coming up in just a sec, but also, we get another classic Batman villain in this issue that we may have had a hand in. Stay tuned.
Be sure to look for these other super titles from the DC Comics Classic Collection.
Oh, God, this is too hard. I know you just want to get back to the video. It's fine, I understand. And like every week we talk about a way that you can help us out monetarily that includes you like literally giving us money. But the thing I want to talk about today, you don't have to give us any money at all, technically. All you have to do is sign up for an Audible Trial. It's a service where you listen to books instead of reading them so that you can do like other tasks around the house or around the house, that's all you're doing right now. All this gobbledygook like letters. If you're gonna choose any audiobook, I recommend the novelization of the 1989 Batman movie. Not only is it Batman, but it's narrated by Roddy McDowall, who did the voice of Mad Hatter on Batman the Animated Series. Here's a sample clip.
The Joker's handsome and distinctive face returned to the screen. He winked broadly at the audience. So, if you did, he added cheerfully, remember, put on a happy face.
Did you like that? I hope you liked it enough to go to audibletrial.com/Watchtower Database. You just go to that URL, you sign up for a free Audible trial, you get access to one free audiobook, choose the Batman one, and then we get money through because you signed up for the thing. That's how affiliate programs work. Audible is full of other books if you're not interested in the Batman one. Books all over the place, all sorts of books in audio form. It's pretty cool. It's way better than actual reading. You hear the book. Ooh, I really don't have much time left. Do that. It's so easy. Oh my God. audibletrial.com/whatever it is. It says it right here. I couldn't remember if it was Watchtower Database or DCAU Watchtower, but the right one is right here. Back to reading, I guess. So, haha, lol. The joke was that I'm holding the book upside down. Do you get it? Because I can't read.
Justice League, Justice on Trial, saving the day on DVD and video.
Firefly only appeared a handful of times in the DC animated universe, and only thrice in actual animation. Torch Song, and the Legends of the Dark Knight episode of the new Batman adventures, as well as Justice League's Only a Dream, the Dr. Destiny episode. And I guess you could count the Batcave mannequin we see of him in Batman Beyond's Blackout. But he also appeared in 2 issues of Batman Adventures Volume 2, as a member of Black Mask's False Face Society, which falls in line with Slade's dialogue in this issue about how Firefly became a pyro merc for hire after his first appearance. And while we can't tell for sure yet, it's possible to extract from this dialogue that Torch Song might happen before Tim even becomes Robin, since Tim says he's never met Firefly before, and he isn't even in that episode. Firefly was also on the cover of Gotham Adventures number 45, but never actually appeared in that series, and was among the giant crowd of mostly eventually retconned bad guys in Justice League Adventures number 6, which I'll be getting to very soon on my weekly Tuesday Twitch streams. On the next page, Slade's floating head narrating the Firefly flashback is sort of similar to Batman doing the same thing in Mad Love, or this Tim Levin's penned Joker dialogue from that same Gotham Adventures issue I just mentioned. The cover for issue 1 of that series was drawn by Ty Templeton, which also included a bunch of floating supervillain heads. We see that Firefly eventually got his face burned. Something similar happened to the character in the Batman No Man's Land mainstream comic arc from the late 90s, Detective Comics issue 727 to be exact. Firefly accidentally ignites a giant toxic waste spill and burns his entire body, soon facing off against Nightwing and Robin in his new mangled state. Luckily, the DCAU version burning himself doesn't contradict any other appearances we've seen of the character, since this and his debut episode are the only times we see him without his helmet. The DCAU really likes to fuck up people's faces, I guess. Firefly, Kitsune, Emerald Empress, that mini-mart cashier, and of course,
Harvey. No.
There don't seem to be any pre-existing Firefly stories in Zurich, though. In fact, the Switzerland city only shows up 11 times in DC Comics, according to the DC Wiki. One of which was actually in the Justice League Gods and Monsters comics that tied in with the Bruce Timm-helmed animated movie of the same name. There is a Firefly car rentals company in Zurich, though, so that's something. Page 9, Slade saying, "I wouldn't have it any other way," while being all, "I'm a secret bad guy," is kind of like Superman saying the exact same thing to Lex Luthor before they begrudgingly team up to go fight Darkseid in the Justice League Unlimited finale, Destroyer. And Firefly being obsessed with insects is new to his character in any medium as far as we can tell. Everybody needs a hobby. It's okay to light fires and collect bugs. The DC animated universe is all-inclusive.
I'm an equal opportunity crime fighter.
So here's where we come to the part I mentioned a minute ago that may be in some small way influenced by us data boys. In our video on issue 1 of this series, I talked about an upcoming appearance by the Wonderland Gang, including the Batman the Animated Series design for the Mad Hatter, as opposed to the new Batman Adventures one. Considering we've already seen artwork from upcoming issues of this comic that show Commissioner Gordon in his new Batman Adventures design, it's interesting they chose to use Bullock's model from the earlier cartoon. We've also seen this artistic choice with an upcoming panel of Mad Hatter, and I ain't gonna question Ty the Master Templeton. He's lived with these characters since I was a year old, so if he wants to pull a batsuit change cause wanna draw it that way with the other characters, I'm cool with it. So now we actually get to this issue, and Ty's gone in and changed the Mad Hatter design. Why? I said I was cool with it, Ty. So did we inform this design change? I wonder what else we can get changed. Ty, the Batarangs have 3 spikes, Ty. Ooh, give Nightwing his hair from Batman Adventures Volume 2. It's the best Nightwing hair. Put in a Zeta cameo, you coward. Really, this is a smart move. We're supposedly in the new Batman Adventures era after all, so updating the Mad Hatter to match that was a good call. We do know the Joker is supposed to appear later in this series. You will use the Joker design from Return of the Joker, the one they used in Static Shock and Justice League. It's much better than the one from TNBA. It's the superior Joker character model. And it technically works in canon for every era of the DCAU. Batman hits the Walrus square in the face in a move that seems to be a wrench-based adaptation of his traditional hitting a guy behind him without looking move. And he also employs a classic knock 2 guys' heads together maneuver. But did Batman have electric batarangs before Justice League? Maybe he got the idea from Static. Mad Hatter needed new circuitry from TVs? Is this the Gotham Circuit City? Was he building a Batman Forever style remote encephalogram stimulator box? Explanation. Last thing about this page, Batman talks about how Robin would say tusk tusk to the walrus. Paul Dini created the walrus. Paul Dini made a toy commercial with Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith wrote and directed a movie called Tusk.
So so there's parallels.
Maybe Batman only communicates with Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland references because it's the only way he can get through to him, but that seems pretty encouraging. And I like how Mad Hatter just plows through the wall because Batman moves out of the way. Page 14, Batman spies Jason Todd out of the corner of his bat eye, this being the only issue so far in the series where we don't just blatantly see Jason Jasoning about. Also, I thought at first that this said the tiniest f***er of light. Batman jumping through this window is pretty comparable to this page from the Batman Adventures #1, or the cover to the first Batman Adventures trade paperback release in 1993, both also drawn by Ty Templeton. And of course, this is again the style of grapnel gun from BTAS, yet the actual grappling hook that shoots out of it is from neither Batman show. Oh, Ty, you and your vaguely bat-shaped accessories. Along with his kryptonite we didn't know he had, the bat cycles, I think we just need to start assuming that Batman created every gadget he has on day one and just started randomly using them whenever he felt like it for the next 36 years. This scene of Batman chasing down Jason insinuates at least one of them is not Hush. See our mindfuck of a theory from last video. But it remains to be seen if that Hush theory dissolves entirely. What if Batman was Hush, playing the long con, and it turned out most of this comic series isn't actually even the continued adventures of Batman? Ooh. We saw the entirety of the next page, sans speech bubbles, on Monica Kubina's Instagram like several weeks ago. Is that a normal TNBA batarang? Ty, you did it! This calls for a celebration. A party. A Patreon party.
Kids WB congratulates the new Batman Superman Adventures, this year's Emmy winner for Outstanding Special Class Animated Program.
Thanks.
Well, hey there! Some of you have been wondering why I haven't been on the channel much lately. And mostly, it's because in times like these, hygiene is so important that I haven't left the shower since the last video that I was in. Luckily, I decided to bring the Patreon names into the shower with me, just in case James asked me to do this for proof of life. So, right here, oh shoot. So today we gotta thank our new patron. First, we have DMTBC. J Kid has also joined us. Welcome. I assume you are an amalgamation of Jay Garrett and Kid Flash. Max Elaine? I'm going with Elaine. There's an I in between the A and the right there. We've also got to thank Samir Bakhta, who has upped their patronage. Good on you, Samir. We appreciate that. Aaron Young, you've upped your patronage as well to where you're always mentioned in these Patreon parties. So welcome to the club, Aaron. And of course, hold on, let me get my hair a little bit. Can't be too clean right now. We gotta thank the people that give us so much money that we always say their names. I don't know why any of y'all do this, but I appreciate it. Dark Poet 1792. David Gallagher, I appreciate you, man. You good dude. Daniel Chan is on the list. I am flooding my bathroom. Robert Sterling. You know what? I feel that was disrespectful. Cameo Shadowness, I'll say your name without the shower curtain. Luke Mears and Richard Mon 12. Thank you all. I missed the trash can. If you want to have your name in these Patreon parties, just go over to patreon.com/DCAU. Patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower. New patrons, you get your name said in the first one. There's a ton of other stuff. We do more than just say your name. This really helps us out, especially in these times when all three of us are jobless except for, you know, the YouTube stuff. Now, I'm gonna actually take off my shirt because my body's starting to get a little... I probably need to wash under it. So I'll see y'all in the next one. I got a Batman the Animated Series Lost Episodes video coming up real soon.
Now back to the new Batman Superman Adventures on Kids WB.
So does Jason have teleportation powers now or what? Batman gets to the rooftop and he's not there, and the doorknob hasn't been used. He's not Hush. He's Nightcrawler. We ain't kidding around with these fan theories anymore. Oh, also this old magazine says the GCPD squad cars can go 160 miles per hour, which is still faster than Lexoplane 5000. Is this guy getting handcuffed or... On page 17, while Tim and Slade evade the Hornet Parade, Robin actually calls Deathstroke by his real name, which may have inadvertently given away the fact that Batman and Commissioner Gordon were looking into him. And on page 18, Slade's proclivity for killing the Hornets instead of humanely slowing them down alludes to his preference for violence over heroics. The two of them bounding around on museum statues is also kind of reminiscent of the scene in the Gotham Museum of Armaments from the Batman Beyond episode Final Cut, where Terry fought Curare. Plasma Rifle 2005, baby. And no. There's no way these were originally written to be Asian giant hornets. You know, the murder hornets we've been hearing so much about in the news lately. Dini did make a Facebook post about murder hornets only a couple weeks ago. Why not make them Africanized killer bees? That was a 90s thing, according to my parents. You don't have to be topical, Paul. Can I call you Paul? Probably not. I'm sorry, Mr. Dini. What is with Slade's smoking hand? Does he have smoke-producing gloves like Phantasm? Can he fire energy beams from his hands? Did he punch all the Hornets really fast? And here comes Firefly in a brand new costume, complete with Aquaman arm and leg fins, and a brand new flame gun, which we glimpsed back on page 8. The helmet is rather Ultron looking, especially on page 21, and it's a more detailed outfit overall. It's kind of a running trend for the DCAU creatives to sort of try and undo the oversimplified character designs from the new Batman adventures, like Batman's non-diegetic costume update in Justice League, Joker's face swap, Riddler ditching the tights in Batman Adventures Volume 2, Catwoman's costume update from that same comic, Bane in the Wings of War book. But Firefly had his old costume in his Justice League appearance. Does this mean this comic is set during/after Justice League? There's so many random little timeline things in this so far that it's gonna be a lot easier if we just wait till this whole miniseries is over and do a timeline video on what we definitely know by the end, instead of guessing every issue and then something next issue contradicts that. So patience, my children. Firefly mentions Interpol being after him, assuming they sent Slade to take him down, but Batman and Gordon had previously discussed Interpol not having much info on Slade aside from him being deadly. So either Firefly's got it right, and Slade just didn't divulge much info to Interpol, or the two villains are working together and this is a staged fight. Maybe something to keep Robin in the Slade is a hero mindset. Robin throws batarangs at Firefly's head and I thought we had this figured out, Ty.
Put it back.
As Firefly sequentially opens his mouth to shoot fire at Slade and Robin, in a very similar layout to Brainiac's eye lasers in number 2, he says, "Call it his baptism of fire." A very biblical sounding exclamation. While this fire breath thing could obviously just be a part of his suit upgrade, who's to say Firefly doesn't have some sort of demonic stuff going on here? This is pretty Etrigan-ish. In DC's 1995 Underworld Unleashed story arc, many supervillains underwent soul-selling transformations through a demon lord from hell named Neron. While Firefly specifically wasn't involved, Neron did grant demonic powers to other bug-themed villains like Killer Moth, Bugmeister, and Helgramite, as well as fire baddies like Dr. Phosphorus and Heatwave. So is something similar going on here? Did Firefly sell his soul for firebending abilities off-screen? Maybe this ties in with the Batman Who Laughs because of dark underworld stuff? I don't know. I'm really pulling hairs here just trying to not involve the dark multiverse. It's too complicated of a subject, please, guys. And lastly, page 22. Sick. And that's it, really. I had a lot of fun with this issue, but did you enjoy it as much as I did? It was giving me some pretty cool Arkham Games vibes with Deathstroke and Firefly, and it was really cool to see a literal moment from the cartoon pop up instead of just loose references to in-show events. Next issue, if Monica Kubina's social media cover photos are any clue, we may be getting Robin, Batgirl, and Batman fighting Firefly. If this is more demon breath and not just Superman the Animated Series reused stock explosion number 7. The plot of this issue wasn't exactly what was described in the solicitation, with Batgirl not even being in it, and a rather Star Labs Wayne Tech situation, with Slade breaking into the Entomology Pavilion, not the Gotham Museum of Natural History, which did actually appear in the second issue of Justice League Adventures. Again, come watch me every Tuesday reading and analyzing that comic, along with Wednesday and Thursday streams from Ted and Maddie, respectively. The link is down there in the place where links are. As always, we want to thank our lovely Patreon supporters for everything they do for us. All these people make an immense impact on the perpetuation of the channel. Head on over to patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower to join this list of fine ladies, gentlemen, and hedgehog people. Even the lowest $1 tier gets you early access to videos, with other perks available like voting for videos that you want to see, joining us on monthly video calls to just talk about life or meatballs or whatever, or even me drawing you something in Bruce Timm style. Not nearly as well as Ty Templeton, but I do my best. Subscribe to the channel because I said so, and I'll see you on Sunday for a Stargirl video, and later for the Adventures Continue numero 5. Bye!